Okay, hello everybody. Now it is week 11 and we will start hydrology section in our course. Before starting, I'd like to remind you that the problem solving assignment tree is uploaded. It's available on Moodle now. So you have time until this Sunday. It's 5 days. So don't consider that it is short because the question is very simple and easy. It's just straightforward question you should answer. But just be careful about choking, okay, while you're answering. So it might be possible that the flow may experience a choking, then you should recalculate the origin of that. It is just a kind of quick information for you for the problem solving assignment. So complete it in this week and submit it, please. Okay, so the last assignment will be given for hydrology. I decided that one assignment will be given for hydrology and then three assignments for hydraulics. So yes, this is what we will have. Anyways, okay, so today, as I told you that I'm going to start introducing you the surface hydrology, and we will have a quick look about some terminologies and some brief information about surface water hydrology. Then I will provide you some information about the precipitation and precipitation data. Later on Thursday, you will take one example, problem solving example, to understand how you can assess and analyze the data, precipitation data given. So let's just start. And do you have any question at the beginning? Would you like to talk anything or ask any questions, guys? Feel free, please.
No question, I think.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And please don't be shy and ask me anything as you need while I'm delivering the lecture. Just unmute you and just start speaking. Okay, so I like to start with the learning objectives because it is a separate part of the course. It is hydrology, and in this course you are supposed to learn some information about water resource management, and by focusing on how to solve problems to secure water for people, and also it is going to provide you some basic or fundamental scientific information of hydrology and hydraulic processes. We will focus on the excess of water and water from shortage, and we are particularly going to focus on some events like flooding events and how you can manage it and how you can use some data to estimate flooding events, and also providing sufficient water for a sustainable environment is another concept or topic which is covered by the water resource management. And particularly in this course, because of the limitations of time and duration of the courses, I will introduce you only precipitation data analysis, urban hydrology with runoff calculations, and yield and reservoir storages. And these two parameters, these two parts is critically important for civil engineers, because while you are making a kind of design for drainage systems of any building or any infrastructure projects, you should be able to understand the fundamentals of rain and precipitation data, and then you should also understand the runoff calculations to make a better drainage systems or to make better calculations. Good engineering calculations. Then we will also focus a little bit about groundwater and groundwater contamination, but I will provide some brief information actually because of the time limitation. And then we will focus aqueducts and water pipes. It's going to be just a kind of quick introduction for the next stage of your learning in water engineering. Okay. So at the end of this class, you may expect that you will be aware of water resources, issues at local, national, and global scale. I'm pretty sure that you have already some information on this. But anyway, I'm going to update you, and especially on today's lecture. And also you will be able to quantitatively and quantitatively describe the main process of hydrological cycle and be able to provide solutions for typical water resource problems found in practice, including runoff calculations. And you will be able to perform fundamental calculations for water resource engineering related to urban hydrology. So these are the the expectations from you, I mean the course expectations from you, and these are the learning skills. And I remember that some students were asking me about the book. So I think in our library this book is available. Hydrology and Flood Basin Analysis. It is published by Benedict Huber and Phoenix. So you can go and find a copy if you want. And there is another course material, water supply and storage. This I'm not pretty sure that you can find this copy. I mean, but you may find a kind of online copy maybe. And if you want to find a digital copy, please share it with me too. It's an old book, but it's never getting aged. I mean, it is a kind of handbook for hydraulics and hydrology engineers. So if you can find a copy, please use it and share it among the students. I have hard copies. I don't know, maybe I can provide you some scans of some pages if it is necessary. Okay. So guys, I mean, you are civil engineering students, and you are going to graduate maybe next year, not this year. Okay, so this is the kind of key question you should ask while you are taking any course. Why this course is given us, and how it is relevant. Okay, so water resource engineering is one of the major disciplines in civil engineering, and as far as you know, there are some fundamental disciplines in civil engineering, like structure, like environment, like geotech, technique, and water resource engineering is there too. It's actually a new discipline in our school. I mean, we were not offering courses 2 years ago, and by the ABET accreditation program, we just decided to have this program as a kind of new discipline. And it seems that at the moment I am the only professor teaching on water resource engineering, but we are expecting to have more professors and a strong department discipline in the coming years by having more professors and more students working and researching on this area. So water resource management area has three sub-disciplines: water supply management, water access management, and environmental restoration. I'm pretty sure that you are taking some courses related to environmental restoration and water supply management and water access management, like water treatment course or environmental chemistry course. And in this course, I mean, as a general water resource engineering, hydrology itself is under the physical sciences and is directly linked to civil engineering. Okay, so you may see that these are the sciences or disciplines linked to those parameters, those disciplines, and civil engineering is just there, and hydrology and civil engineering are directly linked disciplines, and it is one of the essential components of our education and our skill sets as an engineers in the performing in civil and environmental engineering. Also, you might see that the hydrology itself is related to climatology, mathematics, meteorology, soil science, statistics, and geography. Okay, after giving this quick information about how it is relevant to our work and our professional work, I mean civil and environmental engineering, I think it is time to start to make some discussions about water itself. Okay, because hydrology is mainly about water and it's about rain. Okay, so if you are telling that hydrology, guys, think about that. Hydrology is simple. It's about rain, or of course, snow. It's about precipitation, and it's about availability of water and how it is behaving after the rain. So that's why it's important to understand the current situation of the available water resources on the globe. And this is one of the knowledge you should know as a civil engineer. And please have a look at the screen. You will see that we have very limited amount of fresh water. I mean, okay, we have some water resources. I mean, we have a little bit. I mean, it's even not plenty. Look at this figure. This is our globe, and the available water is just this. This is a physical comparison for you. And the fresh water, it means that you can drink, is only this. And I think you just realize that water is not that abundant in the world. I mean, okay, there is no such a planet as far as we know in the maybe the universe, I don't know, in our solar system, Our plant is unique, but still consider that the availability of water is very limited. But we only have, I mean, the only 2.5% of the available water is fresh water. And one more interesting figure is that only 0.3% of this 2.5%, it is very, very little amount, is lakes and river water. It means that you can readily drink it. Okay, after, of course, some treatment. Still, you should do some treatment, but it is very tiny amount. I think you just realize that the available water for drinking is quite limited. We have some plant amount of water that can be used as drinking water, which is underground water. Okay, so that's why wells, I mean, water wells are good structures, civil engineering structures to sustain or provide water for communities or for cities, because we have plenty amount of underground water. And as far as I know, it is also the case for Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is not, I mean, scarce in terms of surface water and groundwater. In Astana, for example, if you dig the ground like a couple of centimeters, after 20 centimeters or something, you are having the water table. So there's plenty amount of groundwater available in Astana. I'm not sure about the other states. And the largest portion of the fresh water is available as ice caps, but we are not able to use them. And we don't expect them to use. We want them to stay as ice caps to keep the balance in the world, like for climate change and global heating. This is also an interesting figure. It is talking about, it is telling everything about the water cycle, global water cycle. So I don't want you to bother with those numbers, but the thing is that I want you to understand, okay, I want you to understand the figure, how the water is circulating in the, between the, like between air and ground, between ocean and ground, between land areas and oceans and air. So there's always a circulation. So we can simply say that the amount of water in the globe is almost stable. It is not stable, it's changing, of course. Some water is escaping, some water is lost, some water is generated. I mean, but we can assume that the overall number, a rough number in the globe in terms of water is stable. But look at this figure and you are going to realize something critical. You will see that there is always a circulation, okay, in one direction. Direction is working in that way. Let me explain you. Water is going up, evaporation from all the surfaces, especially from the oceans, okay, especially from the oceans. So the direction of the water is not that way only, it also comes back like a precipitation, okay. After it's coming back as precipitation, water is always passing over land areas and goes to the ocean, okay. The other way is not possible. So water is not passing from oceans and coming to lands. It is not happening in that way. Just it's happening on the other way. It means that by rivers and underground water flow, the water is always flowing direct in the direction of the lakes. It means that there is always a risk in the globe that we should face with, like desalination. I mean, saltification of the ground. It means that the content of salt in the ground is increasing day by day, and also the level of salt in oceans are also increasing day by day. So this is a problem. So what it means, this figure is showing that our clean water reserves are precious. We have to keep them as long as possible. So you are going to see that in the next figure, not next figure, okay, I will come back. I will show you this figure. Oh, where it is? Should not be here. Yeah, RLC, Lake RLC. I think everybody knows. You are Kazakh, you know that what it is. And what I was saying that, why I was saying that the fresh water is precious, because you can easily lose it if you do not manage well. It's tiny. Maybe you can think that the Aral Sea is a large, like a sea. Aral Lake is like a kind of sea. It is huge. But see that in just 50 years, you are almost lost it. Okay? because of the wrong management. No, wrong water resource management. Okay, let's go with it. So this figure is, that's why this figure is interesting and important to understand the concept. And it's telling us that what is water cycle. And okay, these are just general information about the water cycle and available of the fresh water in the globe. And let's go into engineering real, like, real engineering problems, because those things are mostly related to scientific background. I mean, global water cycle is more interesting for scientists, but as we are engineers, we're more interested in the water problems at, for example, domestic level. So these numbers are critical to understand or estimate the water requirements. Okay, please have a look at that, what it tells you. It tells you that a person in a day may need around 10 liters to 600 liters per day. This is the amount of water you need, you should consume in a day. Okay, so if a country is water scarce or low income, you are supposed to consume less water. When the level of income in the countries are increasing, it's interesting that water consumption is increasing too. Okay, so most developed countries are consuming more water. And typically the consumption is ranging between 100 and 600 liters per day, per person. So it's going to make like 40 cubic meter up to 240 cubic meter per person. And you may say that, okay, no, I am not consuming that amount of water in a day. Okay, and make a math. You may say that, okay, I'm using a toilet flushing like 10 liters each time, like 6 liters each time, maybe 5 times in a day. Then assume that you are also consuming some water for having a shower and washing and cleaning and other stuff. And you will be surprised that you are not going to reach even this amount, okay, for the cubic meter. But don't forget that this is not only your direct consumption, it is a consumption per person by population. There are water losses, okay, there are some other users, and etc. And if you add everything on top of it, actually this is for a year, okay, this is for a year, so it might be a little bit difficult to realize that it is that much. So focus on the liters. So for example, I remember that I made a kind of math for my home, and we are ended up that we are consuming around 50 liters per day per person. Okay, so every household has different numbers, different levels, but these are typical values. As you engineers, you are going to use those values in calculating and making an assumption for water requirements for a city. Think in that way. Okay, there is another course after this. That course is named as water supply. Okay, in water supply course, you are going to design a water supply system, including water delivery and networking. Okay, so it is totally a design course. And from the first week, we will start designing a kind of water supply system for a town, like 50,000 people lives there. It's an elective course. And we are going to design every requirements of water infrastructure for the city during that course. And you are going to learn a kind of very practical information. And in order to make such a kind of design, the first thing is that you should know that what is the amount of water required for a town. Okay, so the first criteria is population. Population is important to estimate. And the second thing is that you should estimate the amount of consumption per person. As I told you that different cultures has different values. Different cities has different values. Different incomes has different values. And even different people consume different. For example, at my home, my son, he likes to have a shower every single day. And not only every single day, actually he is having a shower 2 times a day, before going to school and before going bed. So this is what he likes to do. But on the other hand, me, I don't do. I like to have a shower maybe once in a day, maximum. Okay, this is what I do. So people are different. People consume different. But the thing is that you are supposed to make an estimation for the typical population and the typical consumption per person. And also have a look at that. Agriculture and industry and energy also needs water. And you have to assume that per person, a city requires 800 cubic meter per person a year, okay, to run the industrial, agricultural, and energy activities. So this is a kind of range that for a city, in order to survive, okay, it needs 840 cubic meter per year per person. It is minimum number, and around 1,040 cubic meter per person in a year. So I think you just realize that if the population is around 1 million or 2 millions, like Almaty, Astana, then you will see that this is a huge number. Okay, so all those clean water is coming from lakes or rivers or maybe underground water. And this is a picture one of my PhD students took it from somewhere in Kazakhstan. See that some people are not that lucky in your country. I don't know, maybe you have also the same experience in your childhood, or you know some people, maybe you are experiencing the same problem. People are carrying water from very long distances, okay? And it means that there is no access for water for every people in our society. So it's a serious problem, guys. You will be an engineer for this sort of society, and this is your key responsibility to provide safe and clean water access for every single person in this country. You are the future generation, future engineer generation of the country, and this is your responsibility. You will develop this country by making good infrastructure projects to deliver water and to provide everybody to have access to clean and safe water. Okay, so after talking about the water requirements, I think the second important topic we should discuss about that is water scarcity. Okay, okay. If you look at this figure, we will see that we are lucky. And Kazakhstan is no problem. It seems that it has no problem in terms of water scarcity, or maybe little problem, but it doesn't change the reality of this picture. Okay, it seems that country is not water scarce country, but still there are lots of people. I mean, I don't know what is the percent of population having no access for clean water. I mean, direct access. So people are carrying water, but by like this little girl from a long distance. And again, if you look at this figure, I like to remind you that maybe the country, I mean, our country, Kazakhstan, is not water scarce, experiencing not water scarcity now, but it might be likely that we can experience it in the future because of the climate change and bad management. So it is quite easy to pollute a water resource. Think in that way. You have a large water reservoir or underground water resources. And if somehow an industrial process pollutes it, it is impossible to recover it very fastly. It takes centuries, it takes decades to renew the resources. So it means that a polluted lake is polluted. You cannot use it. It will not be anymore a kind of water resource for you to supply your population. So water is an important issue, guys. And as we are civil engineers, as we are going to be an engineer in the future, it is our responsibility to find the best solutions to keep the water resources available and clean and safe as long as possible. Okay, so these are the general information about the water and water requirements and water scarcity, and I'd like to start a particular topic, rainfall. And now I'm going to provide you some information about rainfall data and how you can interpret them. Later, I mean, on the next time, we will start with solving one problem, and then I think you will learn it better. So my estimation is that I'm going to end this session in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. So just bear with me for more 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Now I'd like to stop and ask you that if you have any questions or would like to talk a little bit about the water scarcity problem of the country or accessibility problems. It is a kind of free talk section, guys. If you like to talk, I'll say something, please do it. Everybody likes to learn. Please go
on. Professor, I want to ask: is the water counted nowadays? Is the water counted as like minerals, very special, like oil and gas, or is just counted less important?
Yeah, Russell, I think this is a very interesting point. I mean, underground water, especially the underground water, can be separated into different classes. Some of them are even not clean. Okay, some of them are clean and good for drinking, but some of them are perfect. I mean, it means that actually in different there are different terminologies in different languages. I don't know, how do you call it? For example, in my mother language, we call it mine water. Okay, because this is like a mine. Okay, so it means that you are taking this water from deep ground, and it is very enriched with minerals. It is precious. It is very, very precious, and that water is formed over several years, like hundreds of years. Okay, so it means that the stocks are limited. So what people do most of the time, they are just taking that water and bottling them in glasses and selling them with a high price. And I know that what was the name of that water? It is a sparkling water available in markets. An expensive one coming from Hungary.
Borjomi.
Borjomi, yeah. Borjomi is one example, for example. Borjomi is a kind of mineral-rich water. It comes from the ground, but it doesn't regenerate fast. So that's why such kind of water reserves are important, and that's why their prices are expensive. I don't know.
Is there any techniques as a renewable energy used for water?
We mean water regeneration or cleaning? What?
Yes, water regeneration.
I think it is possible to use any renewable energy or applications in water treatment plants. Okay, but also I do understand your point in that way. Okay, water generation or regeneration is not possible for underground waters. Okay, it is natural. It's happening naturally. But you know that even you are taking some courses, maybe you have already took. There is a kind of discipline in water engineering which is called water treatment. So you cannot drink water if it is not pure enough or it's not good enough. You should treat it. So every city should have a treatment plan because most of the water resources are not that clean. So you can use any renewable energy to employ in those treatment plants. But don't forget that treatment plants are energy hungry. So most probably renewable energies are not going to be good enough for the treatment only, okay? But they can be used as a kind of supplementary energy or a kind of, backup energy, or just can be used as a kind of compensation for a percentage. And this is the first thing. The second thing is that, Rachel, this is also, I don't know if I did understand correctly your point, but there is one more thing, energy from air. This is a new concept. I don't know, have you ever heard? You know that people are taking water from air. We are engineers, we were taking water from lakes, rivers, underground, and we are treating them and delivering water for the urban use, okay, for the public use. But some countries, they don't have lakes, rivers, and underground water. What they do, they are using some desalination technologies, for example, to have drinkable water from sea. For example, Saudi Arabia is investing lots of money for desalination technologies. And it means that they are taking clean water from salted water from the oceans. And recently, there is a new technology, people are talking about it. It is called water from air. You know that there are air conditioners in every house. And if you run air conditioner, because of the dehumidification process, it produces some water, okay? So we discharge this water. The logic is the same. There is water in air, okay? But the only thing is that how you are going to get it and convert it into drinkable water. This is a new technology, and recently lots of people are talking about and developing some technologies, especially renewable energies, like wind energy, solar energy is used to produce water, okay, from air. It is interesting. It is quite interesting. They are designing some interesting stuff, and those interesting stuff are, those are equipments or some harvesters. They are harvesting water from air by using solar energy or wind energy and directly using it for drinking purpose or even irrigation. So there are such things, but these are new technologies and new engineering areas. I don't know if I answered your question correctly.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other things, please go on if you would not like to ask. Okay, if you don't have any questions.
Sorry, Professor, may I ask?
Who is talking? Bakhtiar.
Bakhtiar.
Okay, Bakhtiar, please.
Can we reuse the steam from the power plants?
Yes. I mean, it is not clean water, but I am not pretty sure about the power plant and their technologies, but I am pretty sure that that steam is used for energy, production of energy. Actually, the power plants are working in that way. They are converting heat energy into mechanical energy by using the steam. And also, this is what I know, that we are using that hot steam for heating purposes. I mean, our houses, for example, in Astana is heated by those steam, or it turns into water, hot water, and we are using it for heating. So it's already used. So my understanding is that you are assuming that steam is like a vapor, and you are expecting that it's going to be clean, like for drinking, okay? But the thing is that most of those systems, I mean, power plants are closed systems. So they are not typically not consuming the waters. They are closed systems. So they have a kind of water storage, like maybe 1 million cubic meter water, and they are using it, circulating it. Think in that way, it is like a kind of closed combi system at your home, okay? The amount of water is set, and it is just closed system circulating the same water. This is my understanding, but I am not expert in that area. Maybe there is a possibility, but also there are some ethical questions. Bakhtiar, would you like to really drink a kind of water it is coming from the steam of power plant? Okay, these are some ethical questions. Even some people are questioning that the water coming from air is not drinkable because it comes from, not naturally. Also, there are some religions. There are again some concepts. For example, in Singapore, they are just basic. I mean, simply they are drinking pee. It means that the sewage water is treated, and that treated water turns into drinking water, and people are just drinking that water in a cycle. So if you talk to any guy from Singapore, they will say, "Oh, yeah, we are drinking pee." This is what they do. They are joking. But ethically, would you like to drink treated water? This is another question. So that's why, for example, I mean, every people has different characteristics and different culture. You are young generation, okay? Most probably you are open-minded and you do try. You can also go for if it is good and healthy. For example, most probably your grandmother and grandfather is going to reject. For example, I have my experience, okay? My mother passed away many years ago, but I remember that she was not drinking tap water, okay, in my town. I mean, in my father's house, she was staying with us, and she was not drinking water. Do you know what we used to do? We were just going our old village. We were taking water in bottles only for her. She was drinking only that water from her own village. And when you ask her why, she will say that I don't drink any other water, even I die. Okay, she was rejecting to drink anything else, but the water she get used to. So what I'm trying to say, people are different. So I mean, you will see that as an engineer in the future, if you try to develop something very brilliant, a good idea, there will be lots of objections. Okay, it's not easy to convince people that to change their habits, but still, it is our responsibility as an engineers to find any possible alternative resource, okay, for clean and reliable water source. I have no, and basically, I don't have too much information about water steams from power plants, but I assume that they are not wasting it. They are using it for energy conversion. So maybe you can dig it out more to get some information. Okay. So let's have a look at the rainfall data. Thanks for your contributions and questions, guys. It was an interesting discussion. So this is the rainfall data, and this type of data is called IDF curves. Okay. And IDF curves are provided by meteorology centers for the cities or for the regions. And I couldn't find any IDF curve for any city for Kazakhstan. That's why I borrowed this IDF curve for Birmingham. Okay. And let's have a look at what is telling us that, but I am pretty sure that there are IDF curves for Kazakhstan for any city. And if you are doing a professional activity like a kind of engineering design for drainage systems or for an infrastructure project, they will provide you such diagrams for any city for Kazakhstan. And this diagram is interesting, and it's showing us that what is the possible intensity you can expect. Okay, actually it's the probability chart. Okay, let's read together. For example, let's say that a 30-minute rainfall with the intensity of 4 inch per hour is risky. Okay, it can create a flood event in Astana. Okay, so I'm repeating it again. A 30-minute rainfall with the intensity of 4 inches per hour is a risky rain event that can create a flood, okay, problem in the city. So could you please tell me that how likely that you can get such a kind of rain event in which years? Okay, so let's have a look at that 30. It goes 4 inches and it is just crossing over here. You'll see that the likelihood is one event in a 10 years. Okay, it means that while you are designing your infrastructure, you should consider that such an event can occur in that particular place only once time in 10 years. Okay, so these are important to make some risk calculations and making some risk estimations, and then you are going to design everything. Okay, sometimes engineers do design for frequent risk, frequent events, but if the event is as frequent as like 10 years in a once time in a 10 years, they can just transfer the risk. Okay, what they would then say, okay, if that flood happens, we are going to cover all the expenses by insurance. Okay, so there are different strategies from the management to management, but the important thing as an engineer to understand that how you can use rain data to estimate a risk. And this is a kind of graphic, one typical graphic, which is called IDF curves. We do use it to estimate the likelihood of the events occurring in particular periods of years. Okay, so this is another graph. Actually, this data is for Almaty, and it is showing us that how the amount of precipitation is changing over the years. And you may see that the data is starting from 1890s and reaching to recent years. So we can say that it is a kind of long-term data. Okay, so please have a look at and just tell me that what do you see on this figure? Do you see that there is an increase in precipitation, or is it decreasing? As an engineer, how you can analyze and what you will say? What's going on? What's going on with this data? Can you say that the amount of precipitation is increasing over 100 years or decreasing in Almaty?
I guess it increasing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But what I see that there are some fluctuations. Follow the trend as my cursor. See that there are some fluctuations. So sometimes, for example, based on 10 years period, the amount of water the precipitation increasing, then decreasing, then it follows another increase, it goes another decrease. It seems that there is a cycle. So a drought period comes after a wet period. So it is interesting case. So if you have, for example, higher amount of rains in 10 years or 5 years period, maybe you can expect that the following 10 years or 5 years are going to be not that plenty in terms of precipitation. So it is difficult to analyze those things. Maybe you need also computational power, okay, to understand, add some statistical tools to understand that what's going on with data. So it's not that easy, but I added here some possible implications of such data on the left side. You can read it, so you can attach that type of information for erosion yields, water collection, and estimation of the water precipitation for annual basis, and these are critical. So whatever you design as an infrastructure, before making a kind of drainage system design, guys, you should analyze the data, and this data is supposed to be long-term data. Otherwise, you are going to make a mistake. Okay. So whatever you design, it can be a house, residential complex, or an infrastructure. You should first analyze rain data and the precipitation data. Then you should start your design by making a kind of first preliminary design for drainage systems and water management systems. Then structural analysis comes next. Okay. I think you are not doing such an analysis in your capstone projects, but maybe next year you do. I don't know. And this is Kazakhstan. I think you have seen it before, this figure. This is our nice country. But maybe you didn't see this precipitation map. Okay, this is the precipitation map. And different colors are showing us that the amount of precipitation that region is receiving, and see that the green is good color, and blue and purple, I mean magenta is also very good colors. So this part of the country receives plenty amount of rain. It's good. Also, the northern part is good in terms of receiving rain. This part is also good, but the middle part, especially this region, is suffering from precipitation. And have a look at that. These are two different data per annual basis. This is Almaty, this is Astana. And it means that there are different precipitation patterns in the states. And for example, Astana is experiencing the highest amount of rain in June and July, starting from April, but it is enjoying with a good amount of precipitation all the year. However, Almaty is experiencing the highest amount of precipitation in the spring, I mean May and April, I mean between April and May. So while you are making a design for a building or any infrastructure, you should consider into account these two data, and the specifications of the buildings and the drainage systems are going to be different for Astana and Almaty. So it means that if you design a drainage system, for example, runoff water collection system, definitely is going to be different in Almaty than Astana. And have a look at also range. In Almaty, it is reaching almost over 100 millimeter, but in Astana it is maximum 35 millimeters. So Astana is Almaty is enjoying with good amount of rain, but Astana is not that much receiving rain. And these are too much details for the other parts of the city and the country. Yeah, you see that. And every place has different characteristics, and you remember that in this part is arid, and let's look at rainfall. It's quite limited. See that the maximum amount of rainfall in the spring and late, I mean in fall, it is around maximum 20 millimeters, and this is also less. Okay. So why I provide you those figures? Okay, Kazakhstan is a large country, guys. So you cannot copy and paste the projects from one region to another region. Whatever you do in terms of drainage systems or runoff calculations, you do perform specific calculations for each part. Okay. So for example, if you have a kind of project over here, follow my cursors, you can adopt that project easily to another place like here, okay, in the same region. But you cannot adopt this project into here or over here. So all those regions have different specifications in terms of precipitation. So while you are making a calculation, you should consider into account the precipitation data as is. Okay, so I think we are done for today. These are just some fundamental information for hydrology. Anyway, we will start making some calculations on the next time on Thursday. It's a bit boring, I know, guys, but anyway, it is supposed to be done. So thanks for attendance today, and the session is over now. Do you have any question? By the way, I am attending my office in daily basis, and if you like to make a meeting or just need to see me or make a discussions, you can find me in the office. Okay, I think you know my office where it is. It is in the 5th floor of building 3 extension. You can find it. Okay, I will be happy to see you. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and see you all next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Can I ask one?
Yes, please. Yes, go on. I'm sorry.
Last lesson we were calculating for the.
Oh, sorry, not Diaz. Who is talking? I didn't see. Yeah, let me check.
Yes.
Okay, please go on.
Last lesson we were calculating like alternate dates for free outflow.
Okay.
And is the calculation the same for the drowned outflow?
No. I mean, okay, yeah, of course. I mean, I think you are talking about the sluice gate flows, right? There are 2 flows. Okay. So yes, you are using so you will assume. I mean, you will assume that you will use. I mean, you can use the same principles. You're right. You are right. I mean, alternative that specific energy at point 1 before the sluice gate is equal to specific energy after the sluice gate. So it means that you can use the same approach. No worries,
Yeah.
this is the same. But for hydraulic jump, you cannot use, because hydraulic jump is dissipating energy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. See you next time.
Goodbye.
And don't miss your lab session on this Friday or on this Thursday. Okay. Bye bye.
Sir, I have a question.
Please.
When is it's
Oh, who is talking? Yes,
it's
Tomris.
Iris. What is the deadline for lab report? I took my lab during the first week.
I am not clear on that point because I gave a little bit freedom to my TAs. Okay, do you mind, please, if you approach them and ask this question? They may give different timelines for different groups. Okay, so they are supposed to give typically minimum 1 week for your report. So please talk to them. Okay.
Okay, it means that no announcement were made.
Okay, then push them to make an announcement.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sometimes people are busy, so Jandos is supposed to make an announcement. And ask him, please. Okay. I will also ask him. Okay.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.